What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Rock of Truth podcast. And today's a special day because we have a brand new sponsor of our podcast, Danco Transmission and Auto Care. Danco Joe is offering a special promotion to celebrate. Call Danco to schedule any service and receive a free oil change when you mention Rock of Truth podcast through the end of November or whenever Danco Joe comes to his senses and stops giving away things. Go to danco.com. On Route 4 in Fairfield. Tell him Soppy sent you. And there he is, the man himself, the man.
What's up, fellas?
Danco Joe.
How you doing? Danco Joe.
I'm doing great, fellas. How you guys doing?
Good.
Doing well. We're first off honored to have you on here and honored to be the that you're sponsoring our podcast, man. We really appreciate it.
Wow. When I heard, you guys were involved, I was down. Actually, I watched your podcast before you even went with the new network here. So I go back a little bit anyway.
A true fan. We appreciate that. You're one of the few that were there from the beginning.
Right on. Well, I don't know if I will say the beginning, but I did catch it early on.
That's awesome.
For sure.
Well,
so how do you guys feel about the game coming up, man?
We're excited.
I know you're going to get into it.
Yeah, excited to watch the Bearcats get back out there. It was good. It's always good to have that week off, get the mind right, get some dudes healthy and all that, but excited to watch them go down to Dallas and kind of get the ball rolling, kick off the back half of the season.
I'm hoping some of that bye week here, Joe, fixes up some of the things that were going wrong, and maybe we're going to look like a really good football team this week. That's my hope.
Yeah, for sure. The Cats are pretty good coming off of a bye. I did look into that, and so that's looking good. That's looking good.
That says a lot about the coaching.
We got to score some points, though, baby. I want to see some points up on that board. I'd like. It's a little scary. I tell you, I watched that team down south, and down in your neck of the woods there, Jake.
Yeah.
And man, they put up 70 points last week, bro. That's some big time points.
Yeah, they're a good team, and I know next week's matchup. I'm going to try to get there, and I'm excited to watch the Cats in person. That's going to be a good game. I was actually talking to some UCF people today, and they're pretty confident. They got the ball rolling. They're back to kind of where they want to be. So that'll be an exciting matchup for sure. And SMU too. I mean, they always give us a fight, and they like to throw the ball around the yard, and it'll be a good game. It's going to be a good couple of weeks coming up for sure.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about it, man. And I'm excited about this podcast. I'm excited to be a part of it. And I just wanted to come on tonight on my first one that I officially sponsored. I saw Chad snuck that logo up in there on the last one. So I think that was a little hint like, hey, you mentioned this. So what's up?
Yeah.
So here I am.
I love that. Yeah, we appreciate you hopping on here. Is there anything you want to tell us about Danco and throw out there, let the people know about?
So Danco was started in 1970, started by my dad, and my brother and I took it over in the early 90s. I graduated high school. I worked there my entire life, and I graduated high school, and the last thing I wanted to do was join the family business. So in and out of college, I was in and out of the Navy. My brother comes to me one day and he says, Joe, you've been doing this your whole life. You're good at it. Let's have a good time and run this business together. So that's what we've been doing. And it's a family business. We consolidated all of our stores into one about 5 years ago. We're out in Fairfield now. We have a big shop. We're about 23 bays, and we do it all. So we do, in addition to transmission work, we do complete auto care, pretty much everything. And I get probably at least once or twice a week somebody say, hey, I saw you on the pod. I'm coming in, give me a little juice. So so we help them out. Yeah, and it's good fun, man. And we have a nice tailgate down. I have a Danco tent down on the grid, so people can find us. So I used to say, how do you tell somebody to get there? Oh, look for the Bearcat tent. Well, you're, there's only like 300 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, man, we put the tent up down there and people come down and, drink a few pops with us. So if you guys ever get up to a game, man, you're welcome. Come in and join us.
I'd love
That'd be awesome. I'll have to come stop by, Joe, because we're up above University Garage where I tailgate with my family. So I'll have to come down and stop by during the Navy game, before the Navy game.
Yeah. Yeah. Come down. We'll have a pop. It's just you just come down the steps. You know where the Republic is. So
Yep.
we're right close to those guys. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from where their spot is.
Okay.
So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well,
we're looking forward to helping you out. We appreciate you helping us out, but we wanted to get you on to at least tell your story about your company and hoping we can help you out in the best way possible. Get you some new customers from The Rock.
Heck yeah. I was wondering where Statty is. He just showed up there.
There he is.
What up? My fault. Better late than never, right?
I've never met any of you guys, but I feel like I know you already. So we're gonna have to make it official at the next home game. Come on by and we'll do it, man.
Awesome.
Yes, sir. I love it. And if you got any gear, I want to rock a Danco hat. If you can,
All right.
Happen, I want to rock it on the pod.
I will. All right. I'll make that happen.
In the community. I love that. That would be awesome.
Right on. Okay. Hey, you guys have any special guests tonight?
You're our special guest tonight. We were kind of teeing it up for you.
Right on. Well, I appreciate that. I'm no star though.
In our books, you are. You are now. And today we're just gonna go the three of us. I think let it ride, talk some stuff, and then try to bring on a special guest back on the pod next week.
Statty's currently in talks with Travis Kelce to come on next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, Danco Joe. I'm just messing around.
Hey, that would be big, man. Make that happen, Statty. What's up?
Yeah.
You got him on speed dial, right?
Yeah, I got him. Yep. I'm just waiting for their bye week.
There you go.
Right on. Hey, if you could get on though, man, that would be really cool.
That'd be wild.
I have Travis's number. He doesn't answer my text for some reason.
Yeah.
And
we actually could easily get his number, but I'm just like too starstruck to,
I mean, I have it. He just doesn't respond. And then Jason and I have at times been in regular communication.
Yeah.
But now that New Heights is popping, which is the best sports podcast on the planet.
I was gonna say, while we brought that up, those guys are good at everything, aren't they? Like, I would see clips of their podcasts, and they're awesome. They're so.
You
awesome.
have to watch the whole thing.
Yeah,
is like it's so. Jason might be the best podcast host in America.
Yeah, and that doesn't surprise me whatsoever. I don't think he gets enough shine for
because Travis is so much of a megastar, but they're both going in the Hall of Fame.
100%.
And now they have their career after football.
Smart.
Because they will have the best football podcast for as long as they do it.
One time I walked into Woody's and I saw Jason and Travis Kelce in there. It was during a homecoming week when I was in college. And Jason, I think, had a few to drink. I'm not going to lie. And he was over, where that punching bag is in the very back of Woody's?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He was just hammering it, and he broke every record on that machine. It was unbelievable. People were gathered around this punching bag, just watching Jason Kelce pound this bag with his fist, over and over and over. And every time they would he would break his own record, the whole place would go nuts. It was amazing.
Dude, their story this week about roughhousing and taking out their dad, and Travis being "Oh my God, we broke dad!"
That's awesome.
The two of them together are just so good because Jason's just a bull in a china shop. He's exactly what he looks like, and Travis is polished and pretty clean.
Yeah.
Jason's talking about okay, Tom Brady could yell at me, but don't yell at me. I'm not the one to be yelled at. And then talking about spearing the dude from Dallas. It's so good.
Yesterday they talked about game day attire, man. I love that one. And he's Jason's yeah. He goes, this just gets to me because I wear what I wear every single day. I wear what I wear to the game. It's the same. And Travis was like, oh yeah, me too. He's like, oh, I'm gonna call you out on that one, man. That is not true. And they went off, man. It was awesome.
Yeah, I saw that clip and Jason walking in the flip flops and just the t-shirt and jorts or whatever he was wearing, and then
would Travis say he had a bottle? The flip flops have a bottle cap opener on the bottom.
Yeah. Those guys they're something else. They're awesome.
After their first episode, I sent Jason a text that said, "Hey, if you want to come on and promote your new podcast." You're more than welcome.
Yeah.
For some reason, he didn't text me back.
That's some BS. Probably just got lost in translation. You know,
he's busy. You know, now not only is he an NFL star, but he's got a podcast.
He was probably preparing for the Eagles or something, or for the Cowboys or
Cowboys.
something.
Yeah. We'll get the wires connected here sometime soon.
Yeah,
it'll happen.
Craig Carey is the key. You want to get Travis on this show, you got to go through Craig Carey. But you guys have admitted you don't have any clue who he is, so that might make it tough.
Shit.
I couldn't pick Carey or whatever his name is out of a crowd, to be honest with you.
You know, Sapko, there is somebody you could maybe get. And it's Zach Caleros.
Yeah.
You guys are a brotherhood, right?
Oh yeah. We're in the we're in the QB family together.
So he is tight with Travis as well. That might be your end.
That could be a good one. We got a couple good ones that we could get. We just gotta do it.
Caleros was supposed to come on after he was at a spring practice.
Oh really?
The Letterman's breakfast.
Yeah.
And then he agreed to come on. What he didn't tell me is he agreed to come on while he was on vacation at his wife's sister's house.
Yeah, it's tough.
And he thought his wife was going to let him go sit in like the spare room and do a podcast for an hour while they were on vacation at her house.
Yeah, it doesn't fly.
And then he hit me up like the night before, and he was like, "I don't think it's gonna happen, bro." He told me the story. I was like, "No shit, it's not gonna happen."
Yeah.
You're an idiot for asking.
Yeah, not surprised.
But he's the Tom Brady of Canadian football, so
exactly.
He's a legend up there.
My fiance, she's Canadian, and we go up on vacation there every year. And we go to like this random bar in the middle of nowhere, Canada. It's up in this area called Minden. And when the CFL's on in the summer. So when we're up there at the end of July, and he this year he threw for there was one game he threw for like 3 or 4 touchdowns, like 300 yards. And there was like a bunch of random people in the middle of nowhere, Canada, who were like loving the fact that I went to college at the same place as Zach Caleros. So like, that is so cool. Like that was cooler than anything like I'd ever done up there. But for some reason, just because I went to the same school as Zach, that made me cooler, which was hilarious.
Did you sign any autographs?
I didn't.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, I was on the phone with Bruno this week, and that Zach Caleros and the Blue Bombers gave it to the Bruno and the Saskatchewan Roughriders pretty hard last week or 2 weeks ago. So he's still out there slinging the ball.
What team is Bruno on?
Bruno is playing for the Saskatchewan Roughriders up in Regina.
What a name.
Yeah.
What a team name.
Yeah. Shout out to Bruno, man. We can get him on here too.
That'd be a good twist. CFL. Well, you guys hit on the Kelsey brothers. How about the rest of the Bearcats in the NFL, huh? What a week.
Oh, wow. Tearing it up, man. Tearing it up. It's so fun to watch, too, man. It's just, there used to be just a few, and now there's a bunch, man. I got that poster on my wall with all, 16? Is that right?
Yeah.
16? Yeah. So,
dang.
That poster is so cool. I downloaded it and printed it out. I don't have an official poster. I'd love to have it, but the picture was available for download. Yeah, man. Hey, listen, I'm going to get off here and let you guys do your thing. I just wanted to jump on and say, hey, I'll be watching, and let's go, man. Go Bearcats, and
awesome.
Let's go get them.
Thanks, Danco Joe. We appreciate it, man. Go Bearcats.
Hey, thanks a lot, fellas. We'll see you.
That guy's kind of a legend.
Yeah, I love that guy. For 2 minutes I was here.
Let's go. Danco Joe. Rock of Truth podcast, sponsored by Danco Transmission and Auto Care. We wouldn't want it any other way. Well, that's a great first 15 minutes, man. Let's keep it rolling. Statty, you want to talk about some Bearcats in the NFL?
Yeah, dude. I mean, what a week, huh? Not just big name dudes, but some guys getting some more minutes, more PT. I know Copeland getting a start. It's big time, getting a sack as well. Big time Mike Boone due to just what's going on in the Broncos, playing, second string now, getting a lot more playing time. Obviously, everybody wants to talk about Sauce and Kobe Bryant forcing turnovers and just Ahmad going, yeah, there it is right there.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Like so for you two, like how much of a recruiting advantage does that help with recruiting? Like, do you think like obviously kids want to go somewhere where they feel like they can have the easiest path to the NFL? Like this really helps seeing how many guys are succeeding. Like Alec Pierce's touchdown, Kobe's forced fumble, Sauce's interception, and the amount of times people just can't throw the ball towards him, Majay's sack, Copeland start. We could go on and on and on. But for you two, can you kind of answer that and talk a little bit more to our fans on like what that looks like and why it's so important that these guys are succeeding in the NFL?
Yeah. I think not only just finding success, but finding success early, just going up and just proving right away how ready they are for the NFL. And I think that starts with how much minutes, how much playing time these guys played in college while at UC. A lot of these guys played in a lot of snaps, and that goes a long way in their development. Like, I think it's definitely got an argument to make versus going to, a top dog like a Bama and being a third string guy for 3 straight years and just waiting, hoping, kind of don't know if you have a starting spot or a starting season guaranteed versus where, you come in, put in the work day in, day out like these guys did at UC. And yeah, success obviously shows the preparation and work they've put into it. So,
yeah, I mean, Joe, to answer your question, in my opinion, 1,000%. I think it makes it so much easier because you think, there's so much that goes into recruiting kids and how, like getting a kid sold on coming to University of Cincinnati. And, before it's probably like the culture and the guys. And that's ultimately why you want to go to a school is like, the brand of football, the people that are there, the guys in the locker room. And, UC has a special environment like we talked about last week with Nippert and all that. And there's a winning tradition. And, we don't have the best facilities in the world. We just don't. That's not like news to anybody, but and a lot of recruits get caught up in like the special locker room. We got our locker room updated. We do have a great weight room. All these things are being improved. And then it's like, you want to go somewhere, one, you can win a compete for a national championship and play in the NFL. And I think really recently we just checked both those boxes, right? Like before, could you realistically tell a kid that, hey, you're coming here to play for a national title? Maybe not. But now, now you are. We were in the college football playoff last year. The kids can see that with their own eyes. Like I can come here and compete for a national championship. And now, like you said, I can play in the NFL. We had, 9 guys drafted last year. That was more than, Ohio State and some of those big programs. And like you said, like Statty said to his point, like it's not like they're just being drafted and like, oh yeah, that guy's in the NFL. Like everybody on ESPN is talking about Sauce and breaking down his play. If they didn't know how good he was, like we did, they do now. And
yeah,
Obi's out there, forcing fumbles as a rookie. AP game-winning touchdown. I think too, it's like it's not that they're just in the league and they're just kind of there. Like they're making people notice, and I think it makes it so much easier to sell kids on that dream.
Now, I got like here's something maybe off, but it's still on brand for what we're talking about right now when it comes to recruiting. Like Coach Fickell, like when he's we talked with even Bari a few weeks ago when we talked to him the first time around when it was just me and Statty. Like something he told us was like this idea of him being in Bari's house and saying, hey, you can come here and be different, right? Like Bari was one to always play for Michigan State. One of the reasons he came to UC was like Fickell sold him on this dream of like, you're going to be different. You're going to make an impact and change an entire program and an entire culture. And like he bought into that, right? Mm-hmm. Is that still a selling point? Like we're heading into the Big 12. We've got dudes in the NFL. We went to the college football playoff. At this point, like that's my thing now is like, how does your recruiting pitch and Fickell's tone and the coaching staff's tone have to change moving forward, knowing that are we really that different anymore now that we've started to, I know we might not have arrived yet, but we're definitely on our way. Like if you talk about top 3 tiers of college football right now, we're in there. And on top of that, like we got guys in the NFL. We made a college football playoff. things are stuff that in the past maybe you could say come be different. Now we're starting to get to that place where, okay, maybe we start competing for some dudes with some higher rankings and recruitings and things like that. Like, how does your pitch change as a coach? Can either of you kind of talk about that a little bit? Do we think it changes? Do you think I sound silly when I ask that question?
I think it's a great question.
Yeah.
I think you still got to hone in on that hunger. Like we're still a far way away from being like a blue blood program. I think we definitely are, comparable. Obviously, we've proven that we can compete with them, but I think we still have a hunger to go about. And just, I don't know. I know Jake spending time more in that coaching role, probably have a little bit more input to share just on the back end of things. But I think that hunger still is a selling point. And like you said, Joe, I remember Jabari saying that, like, Fick's like, yeah, you can go and be the 10,000th Michigan State Spartan, but you can be a unique Cincinnati Bearcat, and obviously he is going to be that. So I think it's a great question.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I thought that was a phenomenal question, Joe. Kudos to you. But I think it's definitely food for thought. I haven't really thought about that, and I think I'd be curious to ask the guys, the recruiting guys and Fickle and the coaches, and kind of if their pitch has evolved. I'd love to hear it from them. But if I had to guess, I think it has a little bit. I'm sure not too much, but now rather than like selling, hey, we can get here, like we've been here, and now it's we've arrived, and it's not so much how can we get there, it's how can we stay here. And you can be a person who takes this, our program has taken these steps, but like we don't want to fall off this pedestal. We don't want to just be a one-hit wonder, and then kind of like you're telling your recruit, you can come in here, you can keep us as a top 10 program in the country, make us so that people say, Cincinnati or Ohio State, Alabama, Cincinnati, like put us in that discussion. I think that's kind of what you're selling is taking that program to, we've already hit those heights, but like keeping us there to the point where like it's normal to see the Bearcats in the college football playoff. I think that's kind of, what you're saying. You could be the one to come here and kind of make it, a normality that, obviously the Bearcats are going to be in the discussion.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of how you go about it.
That's a good answer.
But that's great. I would love to have maybe I'll hit up at some point. I'll hit up Max, who is in our recruiting department. Him and Pat do a great job. And Max is a guy who Statty and I know, he's our age, and he's phenomenal, and he's getting a lot of praise, much deserved, like throughout the college football world, and what he's doing in recruiting for us. Him and Pat are doing a great job. So I'd love to have one of them on the show at some point, kind of, because I think that'd be a good question for them and get some cool insight from those guys.
Lambert would be fun too, just former player as well. So
yeah, no, they'd both be great.
Good talk. Perfect. I mean, fellas, we're bye week, pretty much halfway point of the season. How we feel? What are some things we like? What are some things maybe obviously we can make improvements? What's some things standing out to you guys so far about the Bearcats, and what do you want to see going down the home stretch here?
5 what are we, 5-1, correct?
5-1.
We get a win this week, we're bowl eligible, right? Like,
it's awesome.
I don't know. Like, winning football games is hard. I know we've talked about this. I know you guys have kind of preached on that winning football games is hard. It's hard to be 5-1. Doesn't matter who you play, where you play them. You got to come prepared every single week, especially when you've won the conference the last 2 years. Like, obviously people kind of have our game circled on their schedule. I'd like to at least believe that. I'm sure, Soppy, you have more knowledge on that, even being down at UCF. I'm sure they talk about, like, when do we get to play the Bearcats, because I know for years we talked about when do we get to play the Knights. Like, it's the same thing, right? Like, it's just a respect thing. When you win the conference and you, for a couple of years, are the face of the conference, people want to play you and they want to dethrone you. So obviously I think it's going to be tough from here on out. I know sometimes I take more of a negative route than the two of you. I don't think this team is obviously as talented as the last 2 years teams. So I would like to see them at least clean up on some mistakes and do some things a little bit differently, so they can put themselves in better position to kind of take care of football games that I think they should win. But that's kind of how I stand with it all right now. I'm excited for this week, kind of to see where we're at after the bye week. What do you guys think?
Yeah, like you said, I think they're built to win this league. I mean, if you kind of look ahead, they run into a little bit of a buzzsaw. I mean, you got to go to SMU this week. SMU is a team that, we've handled pretty well the past couple of years, but in the past, they give us some trouble. They throw the ball around the yard. Tanner Mordecai, he's a solid quarterback. So you never know. He could go off. So it's tough down there. It's playing at noon. I remember when we played there, the year that Wiggins had the pick six, walk-off pick six, just sitting there at in that Dallas heat. There's no shade anywhere. That Dallas heat's different. I remember I just being on the sidelines, not playing, I'm exhausted because that heat's coming right on you. So that kind of messes you up a little bit. It's a little bit of a trap. I don't think it'll be that much of an issue, but just something to throw out there. Then you got at UCF. That's going to be a really good game, a tough game. You got East Carolina. You never know what you're going to get with them. They always tend to give us a great game. Ayers has been there for 100 years, and he's still out there chucking the ball around the yard. Then you got Temple, and then Tulane, dude. Tulane's ranked. We end with a great game against Tulane. Probably, I think it's the day after Thanksgiving. That's going to be a huge matchup.
And you forgot Navy too, and we know how we fare against that kind of offense and stuff like that. So,
yeah, we took care of the triple option though earlier.
You're saying we don't fare very well.
We just struggle sometimes against quarterbacks and get to the outside and some of that kind of stuff.
It was one time
with our 3-man front, we're just more built for. I think we're built for UCF.
We play a completely different defense though against Navy.
We give up 600 yards once, and now we can't guard it.
Listen, I'm just taking your guys' advice. We're only as good as last week. We got to.
When we held them under 100. No, I'm just playing. Soppy, didn't Mordecai? Did he transfer from somewhere?
From Oklahoma a couple years ago.
Okay, all right. I'm just making sure. I thought I got that right.
He looks like a little Baker Mayfield, man. He's got the same fit, similar throwing motion.
Fourth in the nation in passing offense.
Yeah. I mean, that's how they've always been. They've always
light it up.
Figured it out, yeah.
Sonny Dykes gone, though. Who is their new coach? Do we know?
I'm not sure. You put me on the spot. It's the same guy who was there last year, right? Or am I?
No, Sonny Dykes went to TCU. He's got the horn front.
Sonny just left, right?
Oh, he's got the horn front. Let's see who it is.
It's Rhett Lashley. He used to be their OC.
Okay. They hired with him. Cool. Thanks, Aaron.
Yep.
Cool. Why I bring that up is I just think in any matchup, what has favored us so well and why we've won 18 straight in the conference is how good of a coach in general, just Coach Fickle is. And, it's a close line, 3.5 favorite, kind of spooky, a little questionable there. But I think, something really cool here is we're actually 4-1 coming off a bye week with Coach Fick.
Danco Joe was talking about, man. He said we come off high.
But, yeah, that and I think – it's a big week, obviously, because it's the next one, but this could be a chance for Fick to also solely take possession of first place and wins.
Just want to clarify, he was at Miami, the year prior, but he was their OC and quarterbacks coach in 18 and 19.
Okay.
Oh, okay. He came back. Interesting. Cool. All right. But yeah,
Coach Fick. Let's talk about Coach Fick.
Yeah, I always love his edge against any of the – I mean, obviously I'm biased as shit, but, that dude just can coach, makes adjustments. And regardless of kind of what's going on, it seems like second half, we do a pretty good job at slowing offenses down, over the average of the play of games, we've had Fick. And I just think you always have to give us that edge coaching, which is, again, like I said – gotten us so much success in the conference. looking, so it just kind of goes the whole way the rest of the schedule. It's always been a funny conference. Just teams, some week, they look really good. Other weeks they're like, what the heck is the American Athletic Conference? But, I think we're going to be in a good spot. Like us coming off a bye. I like our matchup. I think this is our first noon game?
Nah.
Second.
We played Miami.
We played at 2:30. We played Miami at noon. Okay. And then 2:30 against Kansas? Did we have a 2:30?
I like the Bearcats going off, but we have the perfect bye week this year, right in the middle. 6 up front, 5, 6.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want it any other way.
Yeah.
Statty used to love you a good bye week, dude. You were a big bye week guy.
Yeah, dude. 2 practices and we're gone. Yeah.
Did you guys, Soppy, what was like your go-to spot during the bye week? Was it like your couch? Was it like Pyology Pizza? Was it like Max Pub, Woody's? Where was your go-to spot?
It really depends. I think everybody had a little bit different strategy for the bye week. I always felt like, and I was a guy who didn't play a whole lot, so maybe this is different for me than somebody else, but I thought it was the biggest thing was just like a mental reset. I know it's like to get guys back physically is huge and let them rest, but I always felt like it was most important mentally. I mean, college football is a damn grind, dude, and you throw in school and all the other outside factors and that goes on, and just having that week where like, hey, we can just chill out this weekend, hang out, you're not traveling or anything. So I always thought it was just big for your mental health is mental wealth. But yeah, some guys go home, see family. Some guys just sit on their couch and watch college football. Some people kind of go visit a friend and kind of hang out there, go to a different school. I was usually like I'm gonna head over to see some friends at Ohio State or Miami, or I think one year I went home, one year I just chilled. Like I kind of did it all, but definitely like take advantage of that.
Can I give a shout out to like the Statties and the Soppies of the world who like might you guys don't get all the glory on the field when it comes like touchdowns and interceptions. Like maybe every once in a while take a QB kneel under center or like a Statty stuff against Tulsa, but like outside of that, like the guys who just like grind every day of practice, they go to higher ground. Like, let's give it up for guys like that. Like, let's hope they had a great bye week. Like, here's to those guys. Like, those are the great guys at the Rock of Truth. Like, we built this thing because of those types of people, You
got to have your glue guys. I always took pride in being a glue guy. Was like, all right, like if I'm not going to be, the star on the field, and that's like a discussion for another day, like that takes a while to like kind of comprehend the reality of your situation and like to accept it and just be a guy who, Statty, you were the same way. And I think I talked about it before, like Royer was a great example of it too. Like just trying to find a way to be like an impact guy, like even if it's not on the field. So just like, being prepared, doing your job, giving a shit, like not being a distraction in any way. And then just like you need locker room guys. You need people that can just shoot the shit in the locker room and keep the vibes up. And not saying I did that, but I tried to. Tried to be a glue guy.
High GF, gotta love those guys. Give a shit factor. I'm more impressed, Jake, that you can actually remember every bye week. I couldn't tell you what I did.
Yeah, that is kind of random. I just remember one year I went to Ohio State and then one Miami. And then I remember going home. Maybe it wasn't for the bye week my freshman year, but I redshirted. I remember being home watching the Indians in the World Series one game in 2016. That's why I remembered that. Yeah, dude. Bye weeks are awesome, but the Bearcats come off hot off bye weeks, so that's good for us.
One thing to look out this week for is Josh Wiley. Just came across this here. He's tied for the most in Bearcat history for career touchdown receptions by a tight end.
With Josiah?
No, 14 by Brent Selleck.
Really? What was Josiah at? I thought he broke that record.
I think nope, they got him at 12. Maybe he got it for a season. Maybe
I think he had it first season.
No, I think he's receptions because Selleck's at 91, Trav's at 59. I think Josie D's got receptions. Maybe yards too. No,
that's something I'd love to see in the back half of the season, and it's just finding ways to get Josh and Lenny more involved. And I'm sure they are, and sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. But I think those are two guys that are just such matchup issues for everybody. You got to try to find ways to get the ball in their hands, especially Josh, because he's so dynamic after the catch.
Why skip?
Yeah.
Or like why cross? Can we get that guy vertical threat?
Yeah, and I'm sure they are like trying to find ways to get in the ball, and again, like sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. But anyway, you can get the ball in 81's hand, and Lenny too. I mean, dude, Lenny's solid. Like
Lenny's the man.
He has the best hands on the team.
Very
soft
solid.
hand, just we can get those guys involved.
I think also with that, to have success the rest of the way is not only to play great defense, but for our defense to continue. I mean, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, leading the nation in TFLs, touchdowns, and sacks. Like that's freaking havoc that ruins drives, creates a lot more possessions for our offense. I think, that's got to be a key down the stretch, just defense continuing to show up week in, week out. And, we're going to find success.
Staying healthy too. Like, not that I don't, correct me if I'm wrong.
Dude. You're right.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't feel like we're very deep on this team. So like staying healthy is going to be huge. Like there's a few players, especially like you lose them, you're in trouble. Like I remember that Peach Bowl game a few years ago. And I remember like everyone freaking out going into the game because like obviously Sauce hurt us, him not being in there, but like Wiggins was out and Dokes was out. And then all of a sudden we were watching like Ford take a bunch of snaps and Brian Cook take a bunch of snaps. And not that against those other guys, but like you're almost like, holy crap, like are these guys better than those other guys? Like that's kind of how you felt. You don't feel that way with this team. When there's a guy who comes off the bench and plays, you can tell. That's nothing against those guys. There's just I think there's a bigger talent gap from who's on the field to start the game. And it's not every position. I'm just saying some of those positions. So we need to stay healthy moving forward, in my opinion.
Well, what a week to have a bye. I mean, our receiver room got destroyed our last game out.
Yeah.
I mean, I think 4 guys went down.
No, we need those guys to be healthy for sure. There was a lot of guys that got hurt 2 weeks ago, So leading into this game, I'm sure health is a big thing. And for the guys like you guys, the mental, like Soppy's talking about, like some of those backup guys, just get the mental right.
Yeah, 100%. No, I think that's a great point. I meant to touch on that too. I think you hit it on the nail, Joe, is staying healthy. That's the biggest way if they're going to win out. Because like you said, I don't think they have the depth that they had last year. So staying healthy and steady, you brought up a great point too, getting to the quarterback. The secondary has played well so far, but we know it's not the same secondary that was playing out there last year.
Yeah.
And you're going to play a couple teams down here that, are probably push the ball vertically better than we've seen so far. So kind of taking the pressure off of those guys in the back end by getting to the quarterback is a recipe for success, in my opinion, as well. There was, although the Bearcats didn't play, it was a great slate of college football games. Can we touch on that real quick? There was six ranked matchups. I got them written down here. Michigan, Penn State. Michigan gave it to Penn State in Ann Arbor. I was a little shocked with that one.
Franklin's a fraud, dude. He's terrible. He's like 2-18 against top 10. Like that's horrible.
Yeah, and they just paid him a whole lot of money and extended his contract. So he's not going anywhere.
Joe, Matt, if you're going to play Michigan, what's going to be one thing that you think you should focus on defensively?
Maybe, just maybe, stopping the run.
Just once. I don't know.
I thought, and I could be completely wrong, but I thought I heard that Penn State was like 5th in run defense going into that game. And
they gave up 418.
Yeah, Michigan ran the ball at will.
Unbelievable.
I'll give credit though. Like, I think Coach Harbaugh. I mean, I know he can be a goofball sometimes, but I mean, he had him rolling last year, and he's doing a good job with him this year too. Like, I'll give credit where it's due. I think that the game is going to be a good game again this year. That's my hope. But
great game.
I do think he'll have them ready to go for that game, as good as Ohio State is.
Last year for that game, I was at Ohio State. Actually, I was with my buddy and his girlfriend, me and my girlfriend. We were at a bar in Ohio State, and like this was when Ohio State was rolling. Like everybody thought, obviously Ohio State's going to beat Michigan. And being at a packed Ohio State bar on campus and watching Michigan beat Ohio State was awesome. Just watching everybody's hearts break at once, and like me and my boy are just like slyly like cheering for Michigan, like trying not to be, like loud about it, but just like smiling, like this is awesome.
A bunch of the kids at my school like love Ohio State, right? Which like stinks. Like they're just obnoxious because they don't really watch many of the games, and they don't like. I don't think many of them like have a clue. Like one of the kids, like a huge Ohio State fan, supposedly he could name like 4 dudes on the team, right? Like it's just like that lunchroom talk when you're in high school and you're like messing with kids, and you're like, dude, you could name 6 players on that team, and then they really can't name 6 players on the team.
Yeah.
Like that's like I love these kids, but some of these kids that I like am with every day, they love Ohio State, and I always mess with them about like the things I would mess with my friends about in high school. But my biggest thing that gets them so worked up is I always tell them that Ryan Day, he was born on third, right? Like he was born on third. He can't even get like a good enough like secondary lead. There's been like a bunch of pass balls. He still can't win the national champ. And even though I think Ryan Day's a really good coach, I just like keep like trying to get them to buy into this thing. Like Ryan Day was born on third and he'll never get it done. And like Urban Meyer handed him the keys to like this huge kingdom, but he can't win the war and all this kind of stuff. And these kids just go absolutely nuts on me every single time because they get so fired up. But it's like, it's one of my favorite parts of my new job is like getting these kids fired up about Ryan Day being born on third. So I'm going to continue to speak on that in this podcast as the season goes on. I'm going to speak it into existence.
You got kids like steaming in chemistry after lunch, like thinking about like rocking back and forth in their chair, thinking about all the shit they could have said back to you about like Ryan Day.
I can't believe Joe Metz said Ryan Day was born on third. Like he has no idea.
Jimmy, what's wrong? I can't focus. I'm sorry. A lot of shit going on in the lunch today. That's great.
Keep going down that list you had.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to the big one at the end. Utah, USC. I don't know if you guys caught that one. Utah 43, USC 42. I really only caught the second half of that game, but it was wild, dude. Utah, that looks like a tough place to play, man.
Josie D. Lock of the week did not hit, but the Utes won.
The Utes won. Yeah, they that was a great game. Caleb Williams, dude, that guy's ridiculous. He's like ridiculous. Some of the things he does.
The Utah quarterback cracks me up too, though.
He played a hell of a game. He's goofy looking.
Right. I didn't watch the Utah USC game. Is Tavion still getting reps? Is he still playing?
8 carries, 28 yards.
Not as much. Did he get hurt, Steady? My buddy was asking me if he got hurt during that game. I didn't see, but I know he wasn't really playing when I was watching. I don't know if you knew.
I am not sure. I mean, in a 43-42 game, I don't know how much your running back's going to get involved, but yeah, no. I mean, he was third on the team on the carries, so I don't know. I'm assuming something got maybe a little injured because, I mean, he was their offense last year. But
yeah, they can throw the ball. Cam Rising threw for 400 yards. Listen to this. Their tight end, Dalton Kincaid, had 16 catches for 234 yards and a touchdown.
I could use him in fantasy.
Yeah. Holy smokes. He's a really good player. He's a transfer.
Cam Rising kind of makes me think about like if Joe Met had like a doppelganger on the West Coast, because you talk about how you're such a good flag football quarterback all the time. well, instead of flag, maybe like it's actual football, and maybe Cam Rising is your doppelganger? What do you think?
I want our fans to know who are listening to this, like, it's not Sabi doesn't really believe me, but I was a good flag football quarterback at UC. Like, I tore apart some fraternity flag football leagues back in my day. And this is only a few years ago, really, but my ability to scramble outside the pocket and make accurate throws was, I mean, Sapi would have probably been really, really impressed by it. And he might not believe it, but one day, down the road, like, we'll have like a barbecue with all the boys back together and we'll play like a backyard game. And I want to take a few reps at quarterback just to show him like what I'm kind of made of in the backyard.
I imagine like a Russell Wilson, not Russell Wilson now, but like peak Seahawks, like running in circles around and then like chucking the ball deep.
Listen to like my Jesus jams before I go out there and just like throw for 300 yards.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Yeah,
that's great. TCU comeback win in overtime, 43-40 over Oklahoma State.
Can we not talk about that one?
TCU's undefeated. Somebody lost some money on that one. Wasn't me because I had the over. TCU's good. Syracuse is undefeated. They beat NC State 24-9 in the Dome.
They're NC going State frauds.
Yeah,
I mean, no QB's tough,
but they're starting quarterbacks out for the year. Leary, and he's pretty good. So Syracuse is traveling to Clemson this week. Undefeated matchup. That's exciting. Kentucky beat Mississippi State 27-17. I don't really know what to think of Kentucky. I think they got a pretty good defense. Will Levis is pretty good.
Yeah, obviously Levis means a lot to him because when he was out, they didn't win. So, I don't know. That 16 next to Mississippi State seems like a high number.
As a Bearcat fan, we should probably root against Kentucky more than we even root against Ohio State, simply because of the recruiting battles we have with those guys. Like the better they do, like the worse for us. Just
they do recruit the shit out of Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
I can genuinely say I've never rooted for either of those teams in my life.
So. No, yeah, same here. Never once.
Have we ever played Kentucky in football? Is that
we should? We should start like a rivalry.
That would be cool.
The new backyard brawl,
like the riverboat rivalry. Instead of like, we used to do that with Pitt, but like I say, we forget the whole thing with Pitt and we just go with like the riverboat rivalry, like Kentucky, Cincinnati, like
bluegrass rivalry.
Yeah, that would be awesome too.
Unfortunately, as long as they're playing Louisville, they'll never play Cincinnati.
Really?
Yeah, because they have to cook in wins in the out of conference in order to get bowl eligible in the SEC.
What if Louisville continues to just stink? You think they'll ever drop out of that rivalry?
But it's still a rivalry. So the state has kind of mandated that rivalry.
Yeah.
Really?
Here we go.
There we go. I was wondering.
96. All right.
Current win streak 1.
Victory, Cats. Oh no, sorry, that's for both teams.
Bearcats are kind of getting their ass kicked in the series, 22-9.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't play those guys.
31. What about like a home and home series?
I know there's nobody. No, I mean, Joe. As long as they're playing Louisville, they will never play Cincinnati.
Ugh.
Because they have to cook in 3 wins. Go look, Aaron. Pull up Kentucky's schedule for a second.
Yeah, let's look at that. Actually, I want to
because outside of Louisville, it's 3 wins. Like that's what they have to do
to make it in the SEC.
To make sure, and Stoops has gotten them at least like above that. But for most of their existence, if they had any chance of being bowl eligible, they had to go 3-1 in the out of conference because it was going to be a miracle for them to win 3 games in the SEC.
Yeah, they love playing like UT Martin and Toledo like to start.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like they have to.
Yeah, we're gonna have to start. We're gonna have to start doing that too when we get in the Big 12, aren't we?
Not if I mean no.
You don't think
plan to be Kentucky, right?
Yeah, you're right. You have That's a great point. I will admit.
You just shit on your own.
Yeah. Hey, that's a great point. I can admit when I'm wrong.
I see 3 SEC wins: Missouri, Vandy, and Louisville's not in the SEC. Idiot. Yep.
Well, I mean, but like I said, Stoops has pushed them a little bit above what Kentucky's history is. But if you look at Kentucky, like maybe they're never going to count on like we're going to be a 6-win SEC team regularly, 5-win SEC team regularly. Like 5-3 for the entirety of their existence. 5-3, they're burning couches in the street of Lexington if they went 5-3 in the SEC.
Yeah. I mean, they got a pretty good program now. It's just
Aaron. I'm talking about this year's out of conference schedule, not like I don't know what you pulled up.
The rest of their schedule.
Everything but the Louisville game. I was talking about what out-of-conference games do they play to make a point of.
I think they played Louisville last game of the year.
Usually it's either the last game or the second to last game of the year because of the way the SEC conference schedule works.
They played Miami of Ohio, which they won. They went to
who wants to play Miami of Ohio? That program sucks.
I agree.
The Bearcats.
Miami of Ohio, Youngstown State, the Gwens. I love the Gwens. And then Northern Illinois.
So there you go. They cook in 3 wins and they play Louisville, and then they have the SEC. So as long as they're playing Louisville, they're just not. Cincinnati's never going to be an option. And they would never play Cincinnati. Like they negatively recruit on a level that is at the highest in the country.
Yeah.
They can't, with the way that they recruit, they can't have Cincinnati beating them on that resume.
You're basically telling us they're cowards. That's basically what you're saying.
Fuck Kentucky.
Facts.
There's our Kentucky Wildcat rant of the day. And then ended on last week, dude. The game of the week on one of the best college football games I've watched in a long time, dude. Tennessee, Bama. Tennessee with the win, 52-49. That was an unreal game. I would have given anything to be in Knoxville that night. It looked unreal. I think I sent you the picture. My cousin was there, and there was a picture of him on the goalpost as like the whole fans are carrying the goalpost. He doesn't even go to Tennessee.
That was hilarious.
I don't know how the hell he got there. But that's fun, dude. It's good for Tennessee to be good. It's electric there. And Neyland Stadium, I believe is how you
I know my 3-leg parlay didn't hit again, and I'm sorry to the fans. You know, eventually it's going to hit. I mean, at this point, you just might as well start betting with me because it's going to hit eventually. But I did pick the Vols, so I had that one. I mean, I knew that one was coming from a mile away. I mean, you can ask Statty. I was texting the whole game, like Rocky Top. Like I was just singing the lyrics to Statty the whole night, like because I knew they were going to win. Right, Statty?
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe. I mean, you win on a blocked field, like the dude literally blocked the kick and it still goes in. That's wild. Wild.
It was an unreal game, back and forth. I think it's just good for college football to have a game like that and have Tennessee be good because they have a great fan base. Hendon Hooker's awesome. That dude's a Heisman finalist. They're super exciting to watch. And it was cool. It was such a cool scene and watching after the game. And even too, I don't know if you guys saw all over like TikToks and the videos of just like the campus after the fact, the night, just them partying and enjoying the win. Like Peyton Manning was there, Kenny Chesney, Morgan Wallen was like singing at the local bars. Like it looked like a unreal atmosphere, unreal night in Knoxville.
Wild. Wild.
Soppy wanted to be in Knoxville so bad last Saturday.
I wanted to be in Knoxville, dude. That just looked like the time of your life to be at a game like that, and then just in those environments, dude. Like nothing beats that, man.
Could you imagine Statty and his new haircut rolling into Knoxville last Saturday night?
Just drinking brews and singing like songs with Morgan Wallen.
Just singing. I probably wouldn't sing with Morgan Wallen, but yeah.
I have one of those stories.
Really? I have a story too, but I want to hear yours.
1996. I live in Northern Kentucky.
Yeah.
It's 1996, long fucking time ago. I know. Thanks, Joe.
The last year Cincinnati played Kentucky.
Kentucky wins the national championship in basketball.
Yeah.
And as that game gets to about the 8-minute timeout in the second half, where it was pretty clear Kentucky was going to win the national championship, me and 2 of my boys looked at each other like,
Should we send it?
In the car. And in the car we went. We rolled to Lexington, partied all night, walked all the way from campus down to like where Rupp Arena was downtown, all the way back.
Yeah.
Ended up it was a good night. It was a good night.
Yeah, just being in that kind of environment is
sometimes you gotta send it.
Exactly. I was in Cincinnati. We had like summer workouts. I drove home. It was a Sunday night. The Cavs played in the finals, beat the Warriors. It was a away game, but I was downtown Cleveland for it with like all my buddies from high school, like greatest night of my life. Stayed up the whole night, rewatched the game, drove from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. back to Cincy to do like the Monday morning workout. Just insane. I was like sleep deprived. I'm driving. I'm listening to like old dudes calling to the radio, like crying about the Cleveland winning a championship. I'm driving, like bawling my eyes out, like hearing these old dudes cry on the radio just to go and get a lift in.
Like, I hate Kentucky. I think that was pretty clear.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was like, well, that's going to be I'm not going to be at a better party all year than what's going to happen tonight in Lexington. So let's do it.
It's okay to ride somebody else's vibe every once in a while and just
I mean, you know,
be a man of the people.
Right.
I love that.
I will say, if you're college age and you ever have that opportunity where you can just hop in the car and go do something like that, absolutely do it.
Yeah, I can
absolutely do it.
It's a great, and it always ends up being a fun story to tell too.
Sometimes you run a podcast network, and what are we at now? Like 24, 25 years later, you're still telling the story.
Exactly. It's worth it.
Do we have our locks of the week?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Let's get into our locks, boys.
I want to hear Statty's lock first. Like, I'm like really fired up for it.
What do you guys think about calling this segment Fade the Rock?
That's what you should do if you've been listening and you're smart. My dad texted me during this Saturday slate, was like, your guys' bets suck, man. Like, people should just bet against you. I'm like, yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, Fade the Rock. I think that's what we're going with for this segment. Fade the Rock.
Daddy, who we fade first?
Oh gosh, I'll have to take a peek here. You know, since doing one play hasn't been good to me, I think I'm gonna Joe Matt. Can I steal your parlay power here?
Yeah, go for it, dude.
All right, we're gonna do some magic here. At noon, I think Syracuse is coming off an emotional win against a team that's not very good, and I think they're gonna go to Happy Valley and get whooped. I like Clemson. 13.5. Following that, the 3:30, I've said it 3 times on the show. What?
Is it Death Valley?
Sorry. Yes, that one. Happy would be Penn State, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, all you Clemson listeners. Anyways, 3:30. I'm taking UCLA every week. I don't care. They're winning the Pac-12.
I like
touchdown and a half dog. I love it. That's at 3:30. We're going to stay at 3:30. Going to get back on the Demon Deacons train, minus 20.5 in a blowout. They got Boston College at home. Not a chance. Clemson minus 13.5. UCLA plus 6.5. Wake Forest minus 20.5.
I like your picks, but I have one singular pick this week. I'm not doing my 3-leg parlay. I got one pick. And it's against what you just picked. It's Cuse money line. I'm hammering it. I'm just going to make it a tradition. I'm going to let you pick first. I'm just going to pick like one game against you, and I'm just going to text you the entire game as my team just dominates your team from first quarter to fourth quarter. So, Cuse money line, baby. Let's go Orange.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Fellas, I really like the board this weekend. I like the board. There's a couple intriguing games. Ohio State's favored by 30 against Iowa. I know Iowa's not very good, but still, it's a Big Ten matchup. 30 is a lot of points.
Ohio State has 3 players who have more touchdowns than Iowa's whole offense.
All right, well, we're going to skip that one, but 30 points just seems like a lot against the Hawkeyes. just based on
Iowa has 7 touchdowns.
Kansas is plus 10 against Baylor. That kind of intrigues me.
It's a gross game.
That is a little bit of a gross game. There was another one that I thought was interesting, but I'm gonna. You know what? I believe.
You know the Kansas quarterback is done for the year, right?
Yeah, the backup's pretty good though too.
He's not bad.
The number 2 kid's been playing well.
Only lost by 2.
Not as well as the number 1 kid.
That's true. You're not wrong. You're not wrong in that. What I like, fellas, is I believe in Lane Kiffin.
Love it.
I believe in Jackson Dart, coolest name in football, probably the coolest quarterback name I've ever seen. Jackson with an X.
Nasty.
He's kind of swaggy. He's
cooler than General Booty.
Yeah, dude. He's got like the flow. He's got like one of those like surfer like puka necklaces. I'm buying in, dude. I'm buying in on Ole Miss. They're gonna go into Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge, and I'm putting plus 2.5 Ole Miss over LSU to cover against LSU. I'm picking them to cover. Let me clarify. Ole Miss plus 2.5. Hottie toddy.
Jackson Dart kind of looks like a older Dave Met.
Yeah, that's actually good. That not bad, and it's not far off.
Not as flowy, but it's close.
Yeah, if Dave Met was like a couple pounds heavier, like a couple inches taller.
Yeah, I gotta get that guy in the weight room.
Got to get him over to Black Sheep Performance.
You know it.
All right, fellas, I am fired up for football this weekend. I'm fired up to get back to watching the Bearcats so we can discuss, the game next week.
What's your score prediction, Matt?
I think it's going to be 27-24 Bearcats.
Okay.
And I hope I'm wrong.
I'm going to go 35-28 Bearcats.
You said 35?
35-28 Bearcats.
2 close score predictions.
Okay. I like 40-28 Bearcats.
Okay. All right. I love it. I was hoping you were going to hammer a 44-10 score. That's what usually you do. So.
Well, I've been doing that the past couple weeks and we haven't had it. So we're going to flip it around here.
Change it up.
Expect a close one and we actually whoop them. Yeah. You see what I'm doing there?
Yeah, dude, I love your idea. Love where your mind's at.
That's great.
Love it. I'm excited for next week's guest. Can't wait to get a guest back on. This was great. Danco
Joe.
Oh, thank you for joining the show.
Awesome.
Shout out to our new sponsor.
Yeah.
Fellas, it's a pleasure as always.
All right. Yep. Fans, we'll see you guys next week for another episode of The Rock of Truth.
Go Bearcats.
Cats by 90.